Hello. It's very red in here today.
Yes, we changed up scenery. So
We
we're on
did.
episode 4.
Episode 4.
All
Cheers.
Right. Cheers.
We have our tea.
So we thought it'd be great to be inside the studio today.
Yes.
And do this session.
Yes, we are at Halo Heat Sauna Studios, located in the outer perimeter of Fox Valley Mall, having a sauna session.
Yes. And red light.
And red light.
And salt.
Well, no salt.
Salt today? Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Because we have electronics.
Yes.
Children, do not do this at home. Do not put electronics in your sauna or your salt session.
Yes.
They don't like it, but we're breaking the rules today. Don't be like us.
Okay. All right. So
is that what they used to do in cartoons back in the day? They would say, like, kids, don't try this at home. Mm-hmm. Kids, don't try this at home. Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll try this, but not electronics with this.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I think the audience got it.
Okay.
I think the audience got
now that we have that out of the way.
Okay.
Okay, so today.
What's today's topic?
Wait, you didn't say so.
Oh, didn't.
We said it's episode 4 and you didn't even do the intro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Welcome to Salt, Sauna, and
Soul.
I always want to say train after that. Okay. Anyway.
I don't know if we're getting off on a good start.
We're getting off on a great start.
Okay.
It's just now getting warm. It's 91 degrees in here.
It ain't about the warm. Let's try to.
I know.
Let's get our groove in.
Okay.
Okay. So
today,
what we focus on?
Biohacking wellness.
That's a huge field, a huge term.
It is.
Yeah.
So what is it actually? What is biohacking? What is biohacking?
Well, in terms of if you're asking, are you asking me?
Yes, this is a fully opinionated based podcast.
All right. I just want to know. Are you asking me? Or is you just saying rhetorical? Like,
somebody can go fact check us later. Okay. We're not journalists.
Well, how I choose to answer it is I think about biohacking that is different levels to it, and different stages to it.
Okay.
Right? So in general, right, the overall concept is using certain therapeutics or doing certain activities or digesting certain things that will overall, address some biological issue. And then including aging is a biological issue, right? Cells are decaying, and then that's reflective in our brain, our blood, and so forth. And so that's biohacking, is that you're trying to manipulate the biology of as being human, right? But I also say that there's levels to it, because I think biohacking can be when people have a cold, or you just got like remedies and using teas. Right? Using teas and herbs.
Grandma remedies.
Yeah.
Those old time remedies.
Right? Because you're actually really trying to manipulate the biology, whether it's trying to get yourself back to your normal state because of illness, or you're using it as a preventive to further enhance and different things like that. So like liver cleansing teas and things like that. That's biohacking.
What was the craziest? I'm totally off topic, but
go for it.
What was one of the crazy things that either your grandma or your mom, somebody older, made you do as a kid that you're like, what is this?
I think one, it's like a series of different things that you add together, type of like, one was using, like when you cold and like as a baby, like you can be 1 or 2 months, like 1 or 2 years old, and they literally giving you like a hot toddy.
Yes.
When you cold or whatever. Now
when you have a toothache and they dip it.
Yeah.
You dip it in some whiskey.
And
then you're like, go suck on this.
Yeah. And so it's like, I know now what they are doing and the effects. I just also don't think it's still even wise to actually give alcohol, but I also know that in their defense, let's be honest, they did such a small quantity. Yeah, it wouldn't be where you're drinking a big old cup of like hot toddy, you know what I'm saying?
And a thing of tea.
But a little whiskey in your your tea.
And really, it was to put you to sleep, make you go to sleep. That's what it was doing. Just make you go to sleep. But And then rubbing it on the gums, it's like it is an astringent.
Mm-hmm.
So it numbs. It's kind of numbs the area too.
Now you get.
So it kind of does.
But you switching. You drifting from
biohack. But
right?
But let me tell you. I gotta tell you this one.
Okay.
As you were saying, the home remedies. I remember this one time. My mom took. Remember they had those huge peppermint sticks.
Yes.
The big long ones.
Yes.
So I had a sore throat. I was getting a cold.
Did you put it in a pickle?
No, she put it in a lemon. A pickle? Really?
In the shot, they'll put the peppermint
in a pickle?
In a pickle. And you eat it. And it's not a remedy, but it's part of just like a snack.
A peppermint in a pickle. A peppermint pickle.
Yes. Peppermint in a pickle.
Can someone please corroborate this story?
When I was a kid, that was very common going to the grocery store and they get a peppermint and they also get a pickle. And then sometimes they, you can get them. They'll do it for you, or you cut out the top. It
doesn't even sound like it would taste good together.
It worked. It worked for us. It worked for us in the show.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, y'all are different here. We had peppermints and lemons, and then you stuck on it to help your throat, but it didn't work for me. I'm gonna say that did not work. I still had a sore throat afterwards. I tried to tell my mother it's not working. I just wanted the Luden's cough drops.
She said you gonna get the mint off of that peppermint. And the acidity to cut through that.
I wanted the cherry Ludens. I used to eat those things like candy.
So you always was weird. Is that what you're trying to say? You always a weird.
I said that
you was
in
a weird
episode 1.
Child.
I said it in episode 1.
That you built different.
Yes, I am not in denial, but I've never been in denial.
Okay, but we're drifting. We're drifting.
Okay.
Can we get back to biohack?
Okay.
And then biohacking, I start off, it gave a very cursory level 1, stage 1 level, which, trying to use teas and other home remedies often to affect your biology, right?
Yes.
To all the way from the highest level is using a lot of the high level modern Western technology to try to like map your DNA. See where you got sequencing, issues and high level hormone, therapies and treatments to try to, and some of these things are to fix certain issues, and some of it is just say, hey, how do we just get the human being to like push off the decaying process, pushing off death, so we can just live? Yes, and it's a huge movement where some billionaires are like, they're getting their blood work done almost every other day.
God. Have you seen that one guy? I can't remember his name Barney? The one that was like, I want to live forever, and he like wears a T-shirt and it says "Don't die," and it's like he does all these like.
He's a billionaire tech guy.
Yes.
I think Trevor Noah interviewed him.
Yeah.
And the stuff that he's doing is very, very, very.
It isn't like it's a lot
out
but
there,
he had a special diet.
Yeah.
All these supplements that he takes.
Yeah. And everything is mapped out in terms of how food, your everyday lifestyle is to build yourself so that you can stretch out your longevity. And so I think sometimes when people think about biohacking, if they're familiar with the term, sometimes we go to the highest level of what we think about biohacking.
But it doesn't have to be.
And I'm saying, when you're talking about like, I'm going to work on I take this particular tea to manage my rheumatoid arthritis like every other day or multiple times in a week. That's biohacking.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And I just kind of that's part of my contribution to this conversation.
Okay.
To talk about the levels of biohacking. Okay. So now back to you. So how would you define biohacking?
How would I define biohacking? I think we're aligned on the definition in the sense of general population. There's definitely different levels to it. I don't think all of the levels are necessary.
Okay.
For
I'm gonna hold my question.
For everyday use. Like, so when we talked about the billionaire guy that's doing this whole "don't die" thing, like you still can get hit by a bus. Like it doesn't, you do all of these wonderful things to try to extend your longevity, and you still are going to die. You're going to die.
Agree, but you look okay. I'll let you finish, but I have a few points to talk about.
And is living that way even like really worth it? Like the man won't eat cake. Like
okay.
Like I mean, like every once in a while, just a little bit of sugar.
So wait, I'm asking you how you define or biohacking, and you going on this rant to attack one version expression of biohacking.
I'm saying you can do the extreme, but
what is biohacking for you?
Me, biohacking is using technologies, food science that as we know it, herbs as we know them, and just general technologies in order to help you remain in homeostasis or as close to homeostasis as possible so that you can have a fulfilling life and do the things that you want to do. To me, that should be the purpose of biohacking. So if you're sick, is how do you get back to well as soon as possible? If you're trying to if you're an athlete, how do you get to your highest performance level? So yes, there's the levels. Yes, it can get extreme. Does it need to get extreme for everybody if you're not trying to be like the creme de la creme of something? No. But there's still a level of it that everybody can do.
Agreed.
That is worthwhile, makes sense, and just adds to your value of life. Okay. I'm not going to talk about the billionaire man.
Well, you kind of like, to me, when I'm hearing you, and I'm like, well, you're describing what the guys that you're getting on. He's doing exactly what you.
Extreme end of it.
So
I'm just saying, but for general population.
So when you say the statement of like what's reasonable, or what I'm saying, or no, you said what's sensible. That is only, to me, I'm like, oh, you just stuck on it's a value statement.
Yes, for the general population.
Can you let me finish talking?
Sorry. No.
Because you're like, I'm going. And I got a point.
Why does he always do this to me? But anyway.
And so, I just wanted to pull on a thread about sensible, because I think it's a tripping, how you're using it, whatever, and how it's navigating, is a tripping up point, right? And for some people, how people choose to interpret, it's a barrier of entry.
And that's why I'm saying,
I know, but how you saying sensible? Because if I'm thinking of, I want to do this thing, but Donna says that the way I want to do it, to get to that homeostasis, whatever.
Free will.
Let me finish my point, young lady. Finish your please. Right? Or I'm worried about what others think, because how I want to do it, they say it's sensible, it's here, but I want to do it here, or I want to do it in this way. Because some people won't even deal with the whole Eastern philosophy and using natural and herbal, whatever. Some people like, nah, we need to go straight FDA approved, you know what I'm saying, that going through the Western canon of how to be rigorous to evaluate what these treatments and therapies go, and they will make that demarcation. And some of that, to me, it feels rooted in anybody getting tripped up on what is sensible. Not necessarily rooting it within themselves, but more of worrying about what others find sensible. So if I want to go left or go right, well, I feel reluctant to, or I won't do, because Donna might not find that sensible the way I want to do it.
True.
But
and
each individual should.
All opinionated. Yeah. Donna's opinion is billionaire is beyond. He's on the extreme end. But I personally have concern.
Okay.
When people like that are the ones that it's like, I'm biohacking my health, and they're spending gobs of money to do it.
Okay.
But that becomes like this, what people think of as like, oh, that's what biohacking is. That's the standard. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, no, he's an extremist.
I agree
in the methods.
I agree in the point of what you're saying, that someone's setting the standard of like what biohacking is and defining it. I'm still gonna push back onto this whole thing about sensible. Let me finish my point. You won't let me finish my point? Forever. Because I'm trying to be fair and thorough, so I'm not just getting to like bickering with you, because that's not my point, and I don't think the audience want to see us bicker, because it's not really all that informative as well. And so I guess my main point is that if you're concerned about that, then we may need to make sure we have the right language to saying that's what's the concern is, right? That's the thing we that's rubbing us, is that, you know, yes, the billionaire way of doing it is such a that is a certain. I just saying language wise, and we're describing it, like we may need to find just the right language so that other people understand.
So I won't say sensible. I'll say levels,
okay,
which I already conceded to.
So now, biohacking, what level, or because I'm curious to know for you, two things. One, describe to you like that being like in that perfect state and pocket, and then a person is doing these kind of activities that put them in that homeostasis from what you visualize. And then secondly, second part two of the question is also, what do you do? Because I know you do various different things and incorporating your life for the last few years.
And I do some extreme things, not as extreme as billionaire man.
But I know you do some things that, and it has educated and elevated me in a lot of ways. So I've been a beneficiary of this stuff. Yes. But I want you to describe, what is that pocket so people may have a general idea. Yes. You know, to wrap their hand around is something tangible. And then two, what do you do?
So I think the lowest level of biohacking is what are you eating and consuming? Mm-hmm. So are you, is your diet mostly sugar? Is your diet mostly or carbohydrate based, I should say? Is your diet mostly carbohydrate based? Is it mainly plant based, or is it mainly protein based? Mm-hmm. Are you trying to have balance? And really, when I think about it, I really was trying to say biohacking really is about balance. It's about creating balance from a biological level.
Okay.
At a biological level.
So what is that balance?
That's where it becomes very fuzzy, because everybody's makeup is different.
Yeah. Well, say you finish your point.
Say somebody they have that blood type diet, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, depending on your blood type, you should or shouldn't eat certain types of protein. Like some types of blood do better, like it's able to be the nutrients and proteins and breakdown of things happen better if they're eating fish. Whereas others, it happens better if you're eating red meats. Whereas others, it happens better if you're eating poultry meat. Mm-hmm. So I think understanding our physiology, our makeup, our, the way that our body processes things is healthy to be able to then make sure that we're giving it what it actually needs. Mm-hmm. I think in the past, I think Eastern medicine does that a bit better, and they've done it for a lot longer. Mm-hmm. Whereas Westernized medicine, especially in the past, I think they're starting to kind of come together. But in the past, it was, the food pyramid, and everybody needs to subscribe to this food pyramid. And I think that goes what you were saying about my word choice of now I don't even remember the word. But anyway, I think now people are starting to recognize this, like, whereas, you can eat one thing, it doesn't agree with my stomach. Yeah. But I can eat this, but it doesn't agree with your stomach. Yeah. And maybe it falls within protein level on the pyramid. So we're eating according to what our body is telling us. Yeah. I think that's like the basic level of biohacking. Like an entry point. Are you paying attention to what your body is telling you that it likes, that it doesn't like, and then you're trying to navigate according to that. Yes. That's basic.
I like how you just described it. You said the same thing twice, but the first time you described it, all I kept thinking in my head, I was like, oh my God, if I wanted to be like mindful of like red meat and that, I gotta go to a doctor and go get tests and this one, right? Yeah. But so that's one thing which we should understand.
In the bathroom,
but then I like how you wrapped it up in more of a layman's terms, like in very cultural. So you can literally pay attention to things that it will tell you a lot of information like frequency of your bowel movements.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of bowel movements?
Did you get swelled up after you ate something?
Yeah, and then
maybe it had too much sodium.
You know, if you have indigestion based off of this thing, or when you have dairy,
your skin
all of a
breakout.
sudden,
All of a sudden you're having
and
breakouts.
So you can do
what did you eat?
An informal kind of assessment constantly, and if you're taking it as an active thing, we can kind of throttle up the dials to something better. Now, we may not know exactly what it's doing exactly to the blood, may exactly do with the intestinal lining or whatever that a test could tell you.
Yes, it's trial and error. You can do it,
but you can get some benefits out of the more, you know what I'm saying, as well. You can get benefits both ways. I'm just saying there's value in both.
Yes. You might be able to pinpoint exactly if you go and get a test done.
Yes.
And we're not saying don't go talk to your doctor about it. If you have a breakout and you happen to be already having a dermatologist scheduled, tell them about the breakout. They may be like, well, what did you eat? And then it's good to keep a food log. So it's like if you're trying to figure out what's going on, keeping a food log of the things that you ate will help you even before you get to the level of a doctor.
I agree. But I think the thing that ties those two approaches, right, on that bottom level that you described, is that a consciousness and an intent.
Yes.
And a level of awareness that I'm going to apply some awareness to what I consume.
Yes.
And then I'm going to take a mental note and a mental check of what's happening with my body, or I'm going to be mindful of what I put in my stomach, and then I'm going to see what the doctors say what happened if I ate this for a period of time, and what my blood work is telling me, and all of that, and if my level's going down or not, as I know exactly what I am consuming, what I am allowing to get inside my body.
And I think that is
so it's that's the unifying thing.
Ooh, our red light went off.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out. That like, in order for biohacking to be a thing, you have to actually have some intention, actively working on being aware and focused, and doing that evaluation process. And none of that, you're just living.
Yes.
You're just existing.
You're existing. Which, you know what?
Okay.
If that's what you want to do, right? Good on you.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I'm eating, and sometimes I'm doing better, and sometimes this I'm not having a problem.
But we're talking about getting to that level of quality of life that you feel good. You're able to do what you want to do. This is.
And those are the elements you need. Are you being intentional? Are you being aware? Are you evaluating? And then making adjustments from there. And that's the four kind of pillars that you personally have to have if you start like
to start. Okay, so now since our red light went off, I think we can talk about like the next level to biohacking.
Okay,
which is starting to use technology, widely available technologies.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like the next level. So, pretty much everybody can think about food and food science and understand does my body like dislike what I'm eating or drinking. The next level, look at you sweating. What is it? 104.
Yeah,
I'm not even glistening.
That's because your core is weird. And this
I like the heat. I like it. Don't hate it.
Because you actually kind of chill, right?
Yeah, I'm still like room temperature.
This kind of prove your point.
But my core is getting a little warm.
But this kind of prove your point earlier, right? About people being so different. So I was feeling the warm.
Yeah.
About 20 degrees, back, and I'm starting to pat, and you, on the other hand, is very different. So, like, our addressing of what our needs are.
Yes.
Right? It's so individualized. This is the challenge also that I want to discuss. And if you can hold your point that you was about to make.
I don't remember it, so go
about
ahead.
Using technology, going to level 2. So I got you. Right? But before we move forward, I want to talk about what's the answer to when you're in a relationship, right? This Negro need one thing, this sister need another kind of thing. Like, and y'all trying to like still coexist. Right?
Well, that's called compromise.
But I'm not talking about, we normally talk about that in the sense of like taste and design. I'm talking about like on the biohacking, right? So
it's still compromise.
Like, you can't handle tomatoes.
No.
I have learned tomato, but the answer I really came up with is just like, I don't really eat tomatoes no more.
But But we've made some compromises.
We've tried.
Because I'll get yellow tomatoes, which have less acid.
Okay.
And we'll use those. But then sometimes we don't even use them. They go bad in the refrigerator.
I don't enjoy them as much as the red. So
see, so you're not compromising.
No, I'm just telling you in terms of that. I'm just pointing out like how it's such a challenge.
It is a challenge
when you get to some of these things, trying to implement them in
family dynamics.
Yes,
because again, and that goes back to if someone has better absorption of poultry diet versus fish diet versus red meat diet. I'm a red meat. I love me some lamb and beef, goat. I'm getting hungry.
I see. It's like you went somewhere. I'm like, hold on, I got scared.
I had a flashback. I
got scared.
That one piece of meat that we saw at the butcher, and I was like, oh, that looks so good.
I got scared for a second.
My people were red meat people. I am of the red meat clan. It is delicious to me. It's so good.
Okay. Back. Focus. Focus. Why am I the one trying to keep us anchored? Focus.
What was the question?
You was giving your response.
I forgot the question.
You was giving your response.
I think I'm getting the
vapors. Let's move on. Okay. Let's table that. Let's go on back to your main point where you want to discuss about using technology into biohacking. Right?
Okay.
So, like an example of what we're doing exactly.
Yes.
Right now. So,
yes.
I got you.
Yes. So we've been in the sauna now for a good maybe 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, we had the red light tower going with our session, so we were getting bathed in the wonderful red light. And red light, great for collagen production in the skin, helps the mitochondria get active and alive and awake and do the job that it's supposed to do. Pairing that with our infrared sauna, which warms us from the core out. You warm up faster than me, apparently, because you're sweating. And I feel nice. This feels good. But my body is warming up internally. Your body's warming up internally. And it's, again, also helping with our blood flow, inflammation reduction, again, the mitochondria of our cells, making it, wake up, be active and alive, which then in turn helps your body function and process the way it's supposed to. Now, the one thing that we didn't turn on because we have electronics in here, again, children do not try this at home with the electronics inside of a hot space, was the salt. And so had we turned on the salt, that would have started at the beginning before we started sweating. Yes. Where we could have a breathing session and really work out getting the salt into our sinus cavity, which I know you've been doing salt treatments the last couple of days.
Every single day.
Getting hit with a little bit of a bug. So clean out that salt or sinus cavity, work its way down into our lungs and keep our lungs clear and reduce any respiratory inflammation that we have. Yeah. So that would have been like the third level of modality that we could have had in this space. And there's plenty of room. There's still more room on the side of you. And we have a tripod in here. And there's two of us in here with our nice little backrest. And we're having a grand old time in a sauna. And then we're basically layering modalities to jumpstart different aspects of our wellness. Yes. So to me, that's like using technology to help you internally.
Totally. Now, I want to explain, touch on this whole using technology.
Okay.
And for biohacking from a different vantage point, but it's very similar, mirroring. So all of that you're saying is actually correct. But sometimes I had to learn and think about biohacking like this in order to even engage on this level. What is my issue right now? Right? And what I need a treatment for. So when I'm getting at, right, I feel like I've been coming on with a head cold or some allergy issues. Right? I was, been sneezing for the past 3 days, nose running, some head congestion. Okay, what's my problem, right? and then what type of treatment that I can do to go ahead and give me some relief. One, help with the healing process, and then two, just to feel better in there. And so, salt and sauna was perfect, right? Or especially the salt treatment. You're like, okay, you need to do a salt treatment. Like when someone says, "Hey, you got a headache? Do you have a Tylenol?" Right? You give an item, and treating the technology in that way of completely servicing me in real time in real, you know what I'm saying, stages or whatever, not this pie in the sky of saying, oh, I'm trying to, heal my long-term asthma or long-term COVID issues or whatever. No, I'm trying to get relief from my acute situation like right now and then get my body back to that homeostasis state that you was talking about, right? Back balance as quickly as possible because I'm off, right? I can feel myself, something happen, and I'm off kilter. Let me get some red light or whatever because I got an issue with an injury like what you're dealing with your shoulder. Like let's treat something right now because I'm off. Get back, boom, and think about it like that instead of in the general sense of just I'm gonna buy a hack. So I'm getting at. I think it's both beneficial, but I just wanted to give that perspective of like if you're our audience and it's just kind of like my roundabout way of giving them some advice to say, hey, I'm curious about biohacking. And if you're struggling to get like involved and see yourself how you want to get involved, start with what is your issue. So what is the issue that you need some adjustment on? And then start identifying what maybe other technology or systems or centers or things of that nature that can alleviate that. So like if you got a cold, boom, a salt treatment is great because at least gonna loosen up that mucus
and get it
open
out,
up my airways and allow me to kind of breathe better, as well as expel anything I need to get out of there so I can heal faster.
Yes.
And so instead of waiting 7 days, I can bang this out in 3. I come every single day to Halo Heat so that I can go ahead and get that treatment. So that's just another way of thinking about
it. It is.
And I hope that is appealing. Both of them is appealing.
Yeah. So there's long-term biohacking that you can do and short-term biohacking. So if there's an issue that you're dealing with, you're looking at something short-term. It's like, how do I get back to homeostasis as quickly as possible? And then long-term biohacking is more from the longevity play. How do I keep and sustain my, wellness along the course of my life? What are the things that I can be doing in order to maintain that? So like when your doctor says, you need to work out 3 times a week, that's more the long-term biohacking play. You're building your muscle over time, you're keeping your bones strong, preventing osteoporosis, things of that nature. So those are the long-term plays where you're having, different things that you're doing over long periods of time to help with your wellness and longevity. And then you also have, when you get your common colds, when you get the flu, when you get, and a sports injury or anything of that nature, where you're like, okay, I am off. How do I get back on? So yes, biohacking in that sense is definitely useful.
Okay. So before we wrap up, are there anything else you wanna for biohacking? Because we can always, I think this really gonna have to be like a part 2 or part 3 because we haven't hit some of the other layers and levels,
like gene therapy,
and I just think it'll be good. I hope what anybody that sees this episode get is that they can see themselves in that space at wherever level, right? And wherever it personally needed to be for them, right? And so that is just not this bigger foreign concept that somebody extremely wealthy has to do, or somebody else that now is a empty nester and have all their time and they can like it's no archetype that you must hit in order to engage in this. The archetype is you, the individual, where you at now, and you can start at any level in any way to go ahead and start being mindful and conscientious and start assessing your overall.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the mental side.
We didn't. And he was just like right now, just to relax and whatever. Remember, I was anxious earlier.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. he was kind of a grumpy Gus.
Yeah, and so I was having a moment.
Yes. But
That
you
is
feel better now?
Man, I feel great.
Look at that. Look at that. That
So-
detox. That detox. Cause see, that's why he was sweating. See, I was fine. I
Whatever.
came in here.
You stay
Look,
as an icicle
well,
even in summer. So stop
I got a little glisten,
Stop
but
it.
not really.
You can still have a cold hand in tropical climates. We've been in all different places around the world. And you can still, your head can still feel like an icicle
I was
in
born
the jungle.
in the Southwest.
So don't give me that.
I'm supposed to be in sunshine.
All right. So let's close this, today out. This is really fun. We're gonna have to keep doing this in the sun.
You want to do it in this? Okay. Well, let's see how our electronics handle.
I like this.
Let's see how the electronics handle it.
This is nice.
It's nice. All right.
And I'm, getting all those periods out my skin. I'm gonna be glistening. No, stop.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait.
Let me stop. I just channeled old Shanae back in the
You
day.
did. You did. That was. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Wow.
Good session.
This was a good one. All right.
Yeah. And we got a thing in.
Another one down.
Cheers. See you guys next time.
Whew.